Okay.
So, thank you very much for these actually conversation. Shalom, when you were entering the session, you said, we're all talking about double winged, but nobody has got wings. So, what does that mean? And exactly when I hear YGA, it doesn't appear in my mind an NGO or a corporation or a startup, but rather than a philosophy actually. But that I have learned under YGA, under an NGO built in Turkey in 2000 by Sinan Yaman. So that was the formal way, but it's actually informal because you were describing Georgia and saying YGA was written in her heart. So this is exactly what it is. And it has been 12 years right now. I involved YGA in 2009. It's been 12 years. I was 18 years old at that moment. I was just starting university. I was at prep school. And for me, throughout these 12 years, I can wrap YGA up with two words: know self and know how. So those 12 years journey made me know myself. Who am I? What do I enjoy from this life? How do I react in different situations? Who am I really? My real identity, which I will come to that later. But also developed a real know-how, because you are meeting not only entrepreneurs, business people, academics, but also friends like you. Actually, we learned from each other as well. So it was a journey of knowing yourself and developing a know-how in variety of fields. So that's, for me, double wing means that you can put other words under it, like competency, lovable, etc. But for me, in a very broader picture, in a very big picture, I believe that double wing is knowing yourself and developing a know-how, which they are very combined to each other. You can't separate them, I guess. So I was 18 years old. I entered university and I was very excited. And I was asking to my friends who were on the upper levels in university, upper classes, what do you do in university? Because I'm a social guy. Okay, I'm a hardworking guy, but I also do want the things in university. I can enjoy clubs, etc. So one of my friends suggested YGA, and she said that, hey, I'm going to elementary schools and make like leadership sessions, science sessions with the children. At those time, it was mostly leadership sessions rather than science sessions. So I applied to YGA, selected. It was 17,000 applicants at that moment. And then in my interview, Aisha's sister was actually Elif. So she was the dream partner. She was the one who selected me. She was an active dream partner at that moment. So that was the first part. I was going to the university, but at the same time, I was studying economics and minor in education math. But during the weekends, I was going to economically disadvantaged schools, to schools where blind children are educated, and making leadership sessions with them. And it was really a dream for a university student, because, not only we were going to those social responsibility projects, but from time to time, we were making these kind of sessions where somebody else shares what he or she read from a book, or we were meeting with business people, academics, entrepreneurs in leadership camps, leadership training camps. I hope that YGA Italy will also organize such camps and organizations, because it was the 10th year of YGA. So it was a bit mature at that point. So what was striking for me is that first, I met a lot of friends from different backgrounds, different cities, different universities. I never imagined that I would have so many friends from Middle East Technical University, for example, or other universities. But there were people around me that I met through YGA, and we were excited to the same things, although we were coming from very different backgrounds. So that was the first striking point for me. The second is, we were attending these leadership sessions, and I was feeling that I was developing myself. I was learning new things, new concepts, new words. But the luckiest point was for example, I was listening to a manager from McKinsey or a professor in psychology or a great entrepreneur talking about team management. But then I had a field in my hand. I had a project which I had a small team. So in the weekend, I could return to my team and execute the learnings that I have listened through those sessions and camps. And it was a very big thing for university students, because you were going to study in private sector, for example, or become somewhere in the life, but you were practicing email writing, meeting organizations, team managing at the age of 19, 20. So when I graduated from university, my GPA was really good. I was like almost 3.80, and I was really mad about economics. I was listening to the lectures with excitement, and I wanted to become an academic, make a PhD in development economics. So I was applying for universities in USA, and I could even earn a Harvard scholarship because of my Turkish university. So I was very close. But when I graduated, YGA made me an offer, and they said, would you like to work professionally at YGA? So I didn't think truly at that time, but I said yes, because something inside me said, oh, yes. And I started to work. But after 1 year, so after the first period professionally at YGA, I started to feel depressed. So I was getting up, and so I was mostly down, actually. So because a question arose in my mind, whether I should not choose YGA, but go to abroad and make a PhD and become an academic instead of staying at YGA, because I wanted to do something, impactful, something big. And at that time, YGA was really small, like really, really small. And you can't see the future. You were hopeful sometimes, but we were doing some small things at that time, or I thought it was small. It was not small at all. That was my point of view. That was my aspect, my eyes, because I was feeling depressed. And later in my life, I realized that when you got into a depression, when you feel negative, there's always a gap. So there's always a gap between what you believe and what you are doing. There are always two voices speaking inside your head, and you can't find an answer. You can't integrate them. So for me, those questions was whether I should go to the United States Harvard instead of staying in YGA. And that depression, that negative feelings changed my behavior. So I started to become a more angry person. So I was behaving in a negative way, in a complaining way to my colleagues, to the friends that I was working for more than 4 years, 5 years. And after a couple months later, like YGA president was Salih at that time, which he was my housemate as well. He came and he said, look, Omer, culture, climate is the #1 priority in YGA. So we want to achieve things, but in a positive climate. We want to achieve things by succeeding together. We want to achieve things. We want to achieve our big dreams with a positive climate. So, but you are harming the climate. So you became negative. You are complaining about the past. And you are hopeless about the future. So, and you are giving hard time to your friends, and that cannot go this way. And I have got 7 different projects, which were really important. They generously took these projects away from me, and they like kind of rested me for 2 months. And
quarantena. Quarantine.
Karantina, yes, exactly, karantina for 2 months. And but then there was also very social pressures, because at that moment YGA was an NGO, and all of us who were working in YGA professionally were graduated from good universities, and our families were asking us, what are you doing? Did you study to work in YGA, to an NGO? You can't work in an NGO. You have to go to work like for consultancy companies, big corporations. But neither of us wanted that. So it was also a fight between our parents and our friends, because a lot of sarcasm, a lot of social pressure. So after those 2 months, I studied TOEFL, etc. But a voice inside myself said that I should stay at YGA, not go abroad again. But I was very, confident about my choice. And I talked to Sally after 2 months. I said, Sally, somewhere, inside me, a voice says that something big will happen here. And we are going to make like huge, big projects. I am very excited about it. So I don't want to go abroad and then spend like 6 years, 7 years, and then come back to Turkey and join this ship from behind door. But I want to rather, continue up front. I want to see those challenges. I want to learn from those challenges. I'm sure about it. And I will do my master's to keep my family silent. Like I said, yeah, shut up, please. I want to work in YGA, but okay, I am listening to you. I will do a master as well. Even though I didn't want to make a finance master, I have to balance between my, social life, family, and YGA. So I did that. And that was my first journey at YGA. The second peak point, so that was the first peak point. It was integrated, and I was sure to continue in YGA. After a couple years, so we started to put some seeds for YGA Ventures, which you are seeing right now. We will, Twing, Poi, Piri. We were planting some seeds. And at YGA at those times, we were, interested in technologies that were like 10 years in front of Turkey. So those technologies were just new in the Western countries, in United States, Europe. But in YGA, we were talking about those technologies and trying to create startups out of these technologies. So timing is very important. The lesson we have learned during those times, because it was a struggling couple of years, because we were building startups, but it was not successful. One of them got bankrupt, for example. And the number one learning from those mistakes was that, okay, you can have a good idea, a good technology, but timing is also important. And Turkey, in terms of timing, was not ready for those technologies. For example, one of those technologies, Stand Alive, it didn't scale up for like 6 years, 7 years. It was floating floating solar panel systems. Maybe you have seen in YGA videos. After 6 years, Turkey passed a regulation that allowed those floating solar panels. And now they started to grow. So that was the number one lesson. So a couple of years left, then I had my second depression in YGA. This time I started to question.
Don't get afraid. YGA is not only depression, guys.
Yes, do not get afraid. This is my, so I am a moody guy. I am an up and down.
You are fantastic, Omer. You are fantastic.
But every time I go down, it's because I want to find answers, and those answers are about me. So I wanted to know myself. So if you got in a depression, then there's a huge treasure, lies behind it. So if you are courage enough to dig that, soil, you will find your treasure. Actually, you will find your answer, and you became another person, a more progressive person. So that was the thing I was trying to do for the past 30 years, or at least until the moment that I know myself. So the second time, like a few years went very good, but then I started to question Sinan abi, like the founder of YGA, because at 5 or 6 years later, let's say before I'm talking about. So he's a very passionate man, and he had a lot of struggles during the way. He founded YGA in 2000 on his own, and there were a lot of sarcasm, negative comments. Are you going to, raise double-winged leaders? So what does Harvard stand for? How can you do it? So it was 10 years like this. So I really understand Sinan abi, but because of his passionate and character, he did a lot of good things, and he brought us together. So I'm very respectful in that terms. But at that time, Sinan abi, because of that passion, I have that passion as well, so I can make an empathy. he was a bit pushy and he could be a bit negative, especially towards the dream partners like Georgia, like yeah, exactly, because he was seeing something, but not every people sees the same thing at that speed. So Sinan Abi was getting a bit anxious and negative, so he was pushing hard. So I started to realize a lot of mistakes that's been done by Sinan Abi or by my other friends in YGA. So I got confused because I started to question again. So am I on the right path? But that was another question, because in first, it was about my selfish interest. I could go to the Harvard, but I'm staying here. This time, it was not about my selfish interest. Rather, I was questioning the way that we are doing the things. And I didn't like it, some negativity and being pushy, etc. But I couldn't tell anybody, so that was my lesson. I should have told immediately, but I didn't do that. So I just kept it in myself. And a couple of months again, my behaviors has changed. I was feeling very angry because I had that gap in my mind. I was praying, God, am I on the right track? Because I want to do something good. I want to do things with kindness, goodness. I don't want to be, pushy guy. But the ironic part is, I was pushy and angry because I was in depression, thinking about those negative feelings. So it's really funny. After 4 months, Asude and Sadik, they are my best friend. Asude is my co-founder. Sadik is the CEO of Vivo. We grew up together. So they came to me and they gave me a feedback. They say, hey, Omer, you're not good again. So do you want to leave again? So I said, no, this time it's different. This time I am questioning those behaviors. And then I realized YGA does not equal Sinan Yaman, the founder, or other people. Because people, as people, we are allowed to make mistakes because, we are human. It doesn't, I was confusing good deeds, good behaviors, good intentions with people's mistakes, but it was different. So, and a couple of weeks later, Asude and Sadik have also realized the pushiness and the negativity in Sinan Abi. So they went to his house and they gave him a feedback. Asude said, I am going to quit, Sinan, if you don't change your pushy behaviors. And I have never experienced or heard or seen in other companies that you can, knock the door of the president of the company or the director of the board and say, hey, you have to change your behaviors. And
this happened.
Sinan, it happened. And Sinan said, you are very right. I am getting that feedback. And this time he was in a quarantine. So it changed my whole, aspect. So I said, wow, because I was seeing it with my own eyes. And I said, okay, YJ does not equal people. So people can make mistakes. You are making mistakes. You are also behaving that way. You have to differentiate it.
I remember Sinan was telling this during one of the YGA summits in front of 2,000 people. So he told everybody that he as president has been put in quarantine from all people in YGA as he was too pushy. So also that I was very impressed. Learning about
exactly and some of those 2,000 people didn't believe it. Some of them who knew me asked me, is that a real story? I said, yes, it's a real story. I was there. So that was the second peak and answer. And after that, it was 2016 or so. After that, it was a very lovely journey. I had some problems in my private lives, but thanks to YGA, it offered me an environment. Even I had some problems in my private life, some struggles. I was still looking to those problems to find an answers about myself. And YGA provided me such an opportunity to gather together, to convene and to tell about our feelings, what I have discovered and what I have learned. We are calling in Turkish seyir. I don't know what you call in Italian, but those meetings are called seyir, that we are sharing the learnings that we have discovered from our private life or from our business life. And so that made me a lot of that progressed me a lot. So I developed myself a lot. And at the end, like now I turned 30 last month, and I was before turning 30, I was thinking all this journey in YGA and in my life, what I have learned, because until that moment, I always wrote those answers, those peak points, those things that I was attributing to the big picture in my journals. I took a lot of notes, and then I looked to that notes, and I guess I can describe myself not as the co-founder of Twin, not as the VP of Twin, not somebody's boyfriend, not somebody's friend, not the son of my Görgülü family. No, those are not my real identity, because if you attribute your real identity to something finite, you know, tomorrow, which I have experienced, Twin might get into a financial struggle and you won't be peaceful and happy. So your inner peace and inner happiness will always depend on outside conditions if you attribute your real identity to something outside. But what I have discovered during those journey, so I was a person who does not care about love, being kind, being lovable. I rather, you know, give importance to competency, know-how, developing yourself, projects. I was a very rigid guy in that term. But then I realized the real thing is actually kindness, goodness, sharing the love, you know, not being angry, but approaching in a lovable way. So it was a major transformation in me. So now I am putting this love, being good, being a kind person as one upfront every project. And I'm describing myself, I'm a guy who want to do something good in this life, who want to be lovable, and who want to be a good person, because there's no there's no obstacle that keep you away from doing that. In Twin, you might have obstacles. If you're a VP of growth, you will feel never satisfied because there's so many knowledge about growth. You will feel always, you know, something missing, and you will blame yourself. If you're somebody's boyfriend, if you attribute yourself with somebody's boyfriend identity, you can, you know, break up and you can lose your inner peace and happiness. So that was the answer I was found after this 30 years of journey. And YGA helped me a lot through showing how to know myself, and through building a lot of know-how from the people from different backgrounds. So
fantastic discovery.
That's my YGA journey, and that's who I am actually. So now
fantastic discovery.
I think we can continue maybe on a little bit more on Twin and the projects. Yeah.
Wow. Very emotional part of it. Look, Paolo, I think we all should do that. Fully agree. Really, thank you, Omer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ashal. Maybe I can now answer some of the questions, but it would be better if you direct those questions, and I will try to answer as much as I can.
Absolutely. Guys, you have written several questions. Do you want to take them? Dilara?
Okay. Hi, Omer.
Hello,
It's a pleasure
Dilara.
to welcome you here. And I had a question about your experience that you briefly explained very well, and we all admired, I guess. And the second of my question about like implementing the twin kits. How do you do it, and how this idea come up, and how can you update these twin kits based on which ideas?
Sure. So this is a long journey actually from the project side. I told you when I entered YGA, the sessions we were holding with the elementary school students were mostly based on values like leadership, positive thinking, collaboration, empathy. But then we realized, you know, it is, how can I say, too implicit for the children. So you have to add some real elements that children can understand, but you can also give some good messages behind it. So science was the perfect point for it, because STEAM is developing in the world. And a research made by Oxford University suggests that in 2040, 40% of the jobs will be lost by automation. But on the other hand, we are looking to the statistics about employment, and we see that STEAM-based employment, science, technology, art, design, math, it's increasing 13% every year. So this is the future picture waiting for the children, and we are working with the children. So what we have done is that we have built a curriculum, original curriculum, and we changed this leadership value sessions into science sessions. But what we have done, for example, we were showing Tesla's autonomous vehicle to the children, and we were telling them, can you build a Tesla like this, like an autonomous non-driver car? And they were all answering, no, we probably cannot. And then they were building with the science kits an autonomous vehicle, even a prototype. And we were saying, hey, you have to be confident in yourself. You have to have this courage. So courage and confidence comes with an autonomous vehicle, or succeeding together comes with the physics experiments that we were actually doing with some basic machines in those sessions. So, but at that time, there was also no Twins, Dilara. We were using different science kits, science toys from all around the world. We were creating sponsorships and buying all of them, examining it, and put it into our curriculum. In 2015, we said we might build our own science kit. With the curriculum, we want to put aside besides the kit. So we made a product crowdfunding campaign, opened the product crowdfunding campaign, and we raised $100,000. And the first twin prototypes came after 1.5 years of R&D. We worked with a Hong Kong-based company, so the electronical designs and the mechanical designs and the design, the outside design were done with their help as well. But we learned the know-how of producing a hardware product later, which later we developed all these sensors, the electronic schemes of the sensors inside ourselves. We expanded our team, employed a lot of engineers, but it started in 2016 with a product crowdfunding campaign because we were using a lot of toys. So we said, okay, we can use our own. But turning into a startup came later. So Asude and Jihan have initiated that project, which now they are the other two co-founders. And in 2017, our first twin science kits arrived from China. And it was working and it was really cool. And we started to use them in the sessions that we are doing in the economic disadvantaged schools. But those science kits were also seen by our advisory board. So they were prominent business people, entrepreneurs, and they said, hey, are you serious? That this can become a world brand. And if you want to sustain your impact, you can't do this under a social responsibility project. The world would not allow you to do this. You have to build a proper startup, a company that will gain economic profit. Then you can do whatever you want. Do you want to, send your kids to Africa? Okay, let's do it. But you have to build a startup first because there's an economic opportunity here. Therefore, I don't understand when we say YGA and NGO. This is a formal corporate thing. You can be an NGO, you can be half for profit, half non-profit. You can be pure for everything. It is about what you are doing. It is about whether you are doing something beneficial to this world, whether you are creating a positive externality in terms of economic terms, or whether you are harming this world. Because the capital, unfortunately, is mostly under the hands of bad people. We are seeing this, and they're, polluting this world, contaminating our nature, contaminating our waters, etc. So we were looking from that perspective. And in 2017, we gathered like 1,000 twin science kits from China. And then we saw the potential, but we were not courageous enough. Thanks to Sinan, he encouraged us, and we were, thinking about to order a couple of thousands more, maybe 2,000, 3,000 more kits. But he said, are you serious? A lot of advisory boards, a lot of prominent business people who have got these experiences says that you can create a world brand and you want to, you know, order 2,000 science kits. No, you can't do that. And we ordered 11,000 actually. And it was all sold next year. And we became stock out, which is the mistake that I've been done in Twin. But I will tell this in another question, I guess. But yes, that was the story, Dilara. So when we gathered those Twin science kits, we built a curriculum with our values, etc. And we continued to do the science sessions in Anatolia, but also started to sell our kits through e-commerce channels or to private schools, which is the beauty, because Koç schools, for example, are the most prominent, most prestigious private schools school in Turkey, in elementary and high school. So Koç students are using Twin science kits, but also children in far east, in a remote village, in a very, very poor village, are also using Twin science kits. And the name Twin comes from there, actually. In one aspect, at least. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes, it's admirable. Thanks, Omer.
Thank you.
Is somebody willing to move forward, or I ask you to join for questions? Martino, Allegra, Paolo?
No, I
Paolo.
want to leave the floor to the new guys, absolutely, because
Okay.
I had already the chance to speak
You
with
know.
and at that time was 2017, so at the beginning of your journey as Twin.
Yeah.
No, I could say that you are absolutely lovable, because I had a good feeling when we met the first time, and now is totally renewed, this good feeling. So I really love your passion, your I don't know, the way when your face when you speak about your project, your journey, everything, you know, is very, very, I don't know how I say. I could feel a sort of empathy in your speech or in your
very warm feelings he transfer. They are really, yeah, very smooth, going in deep and warm
Passionate.
and passionate. You're right.
But Paolo, I should also add, it's not like kind of our journey, the guys from Istanbul, because you're also involved to this journey. You use those science kits, you make sessions. We have got an Italian movie in our YouTube channel. We were using this movie while we were, you know, arranging meetings in different countries. We are also active in Italy as well. It paved the way maybe for us to come to the United Kingdom. It is really a success story. It is not a cliche. A lot of, you know, one-man shows, they're saying, you know, we have, of course, succeeded with our teams, but you can understand from his words that he is actually saying, you know, I have achieved this. This is nothing, you know, Twin is just the opposite of that. You are also involved. And thank you very much for your support as well, that you try to, you know, extend this project in Italy. So it's all, you know, all together's journey. You are also involved to that.
So Paula, you are also lovable, or near to. I'm joking.
No, it was a very amazing story, and I had in my last 3 years some sensation like move up and down, depressed, excited, depressed, excited. So I can understand very well what you thought. Okay, no, but I want to leave the floor to the other guys.
Martino.
Okay, can you hear us? Can you hear me? Well,
yes.
Okay, so I was checking the questions I wrote down, but you answered most of them. So the one I would be interested in hearing from you is, are you planning on developing more kits on different topics, like not technology, not robotics, but chemistry, mathematics, and so on?
Well, probably we won't develop any further kits. We are going to develop an artificial intelligence kit, which we have created a prototype for Rolls-Royce. We put a Raspberry Pi module to our Discovery kit and a microbit module. So it enables and a Raspberry Pi camera as well. So it enables children to understand, like in a very basic way, the working mechanism of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So probably at the end of this year, we will have a proper AI kit, which will be the most advanced twin science kit. But other than that, we have discussed your suggestion or your question among ourselves. Should we produce more cheaper kits in different fields? But like in a startup, our number one lesson from previous year was to focus, actually. So we have been distracted a couple of times in the past years, but every startup mentor focuses on focus. So they said you have to choose one area, one field, and you should focus on it. Even we have now a Twing application, a digital product, which can work separately from the hardware business. Even some of the investors were challenging it. Are you going to choose one of them? Which we are not going to choose. We are we came up with a hybrid business model idea, but you understand what I mean. And especially producing a hardware product, you know, it takes at least 1 year. At least the basic product took 1 year from scratch to build. So it is a heavy operation. So we said no, but we also value hardware a lot because you are doing something with your hands, and it teaches you a lot. It teaches children a lot. They don't forget. So we thought maybe our digital application in the future can become a marketplace for hardware products. For example, in the digital world, you have no limits. You can create contents in math, chemistry, physics, which we are actually doing right now. And if the children is engaged in an adventure connecting to chemistry, for example, at the end, maybe we can offer them a chemistry toy, chemistry product. And as a startup, we can gain money from commission revenue. And those chemistry toy company can sell their products inside our digital application. So that is the business plan that we are going to execute in the next months.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you. You answered all of my questions.
Martino, don't escape. Can you tell to Omer about the other association that you are the president and founder?
Yes.
2 words, please. It's interesting.
Okay, so I found out about YGA because I was with one of the members, Allegra, in another association I founded a couple of years ago in the Polytechnic of Turin, which aim is to help students in need. So students that are needy of being listened, of talking with someone who isn't a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and someone who had the same experiences and problems. And so what we do is teach students who are volunteers how to listen, and then we are putting up an anonymous service of telephone calls and messages and mails, which you can contact in any moment. But well, we will have a timetable. But anyway, which you can contact to talk with someone who is on your same level, but who can listen to you and help you.
Do you have a website in English as well, Martino?
Not still. Unfortunately, not still.
But we can. It sounds really interesting. We can also discuss maybe after this, session privately. But very pleased to meet you. And yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Martino, together with Allegra also. So I don't know if you have met her before in other situations. She joined us not from a long time, but as if she's with us from a very, very, very long time. So she's one of our oldest for the time being, and for the works it has done, for the responsibilities she got. So Allegra, here you are. Do you have questions? I think you have.
I have some questions.
One of the presenter of Undo Trescenza.
Exactly.
But first, I just want to say that it's a real pleasure to meet you, Omer. And
You too.
So my question I want to ask you is about this. I'm very curious to know, how do you address the gender issues related to your products? Because when you produce some content or tools for kids, it's a very delicate thing, as you can convey really subtle messages for kids basing to their gender. So I was very curious to know, how do you address internally these kind of issues, and how do you make your product as inclusive as it is and as it can be?
So I have to choose my words very carefully, because it is recorded and part of our company is still in Turkey. So even though our headquarters is United Kingdom, I have to choose very carefully.
We will cut that part, so no worries.
Yeah, great. So starting from like scratch, like when you say, gender equality or gender, the colors comes to our mind. I don't know whether it's the situation around the world, but in Turkey, pink color is attributed with the girls and blue color with the boys, for example. Or the girls cannot play with the, cars, and the girls cannot play with, babies, etc. So while we were developing Twing, especially our design team, and I will also ask that question Ali as well. Ali is our founding member, and he's the chief designer. So he studied design, graphic design, etc. And he has a huge knowledge in the design and science all together. But what we are trying to do is first to put all this discrimination away in terms of colors, because in your user interface, you're using a lot of colors. And you have got, for example, conceptual kits, robotic art kit with colors. So initially, people tend to say, hey, robotic art kits is for girls. But we put every time a girl and a boy in our new boxes. Yeah. It was like that in our old boxes as well, but now again. So even in the autonomous vehicle box, for example, autonomous vehicle kit is played by girls more than boys. So it's a statistics in some regions that is the situation. Girls in Anatolia are making autonomous cars like engineers, etc., which is attributed more to men. So what we are trying to do, put a boy, put a girl, and do not discriminate in terms of colors, in terms of concepts. And while they have got some also detailed techniques, Allegra, which Ali might answer more properly, but we are making animation videos, and they are, how can I say, in these animation videos, they're trying to use characters like sexless characters. You can say this is man or this is woman. So because it should be like neutral. But this is an issue, actually, we were discussing with in the weekend with one of my friends, that you can, there's a lot of much more to do, because people are protesting all over the world about this gender rights, etc. But we are also trying to be careful as well, because we have to do some basics. But in the future, we will increase our activism, let's say, but step by step. If you do too much activism when you are too young and too early, that might cause some problems, because you're in real life, in real world, a lot of political situations, etc. But in the standard terms, we are doing everything in terms of color, concepts, no discrimination. It goes to the girls, it goes to the boys, etc. So we don't have any differentiation in our minds or in our company in terms of this topic.
Are you satisfied?
Yeah, completely. But I love your products, so.
Privately, I can answer more. So, yeah.
I was just curious about it.
Yeah.
Can you, Allegra, can you briefly explain, because we have done it to Duygu, and Duygu was very happy to also present it to other colleagues in Turkey, how we planned and arranged our twin sessions with the children, the different phases of twin sessions.
Yeah, of course. So basically, within the months of September and October, we have conducted 4 science sessions with kids of 3rd grade of elementary school. And we used for those sessions just the curiosity kit, but we contextualized the experiments that we did with the curiosity kit in a sort of path through some role figures. Like, for example, for the first session, we use the explorer as the role figure to contextualize the experiments we were doing. Then we were using the scientist figure, and at the end, we were using the figure of the pilot. And actually, when we were looking backward to our work, we were seeing that we outlined a path following also the steps of science development. So first you're an explorer, so you explore. Then you're a scientist, and you go more in detail. You do some research, and you try to find some explanations to what you explore first. And then after that you're becoming a pilot of your discoveries, and you bring your companions with you and show them the results of your experiments and explorations. So this is
how did the children react? Because I'm asking this because I think fantastic, right? Because if the reactions are positive, I have some good news, because you were much more agile than us and much more smart, because we are trying to do now, put these characters into our Twing application. And we want to combine these characteristics with our, characters with or heroes with the physical kits as well. What you have tried actually came to our minds a year later, but the good part is that you have already tested with the children in the field, and it had got a positive effect. So that's an insight for me as a co-founder and as responsible from growth. And now after this session, I will write from our Slack group that the YGA Italy members have already tested this character playing sessions, which I think that they will be happy to hear that as well.
Yeah, the children, they were enthusiastic, no, Allegra?
Yeah, they were in every phase, they were really enthusiastic and very curious to know, to know more and to play, of course. So creating also more an imaginary context for them, which is shifts a little from the reality, was more challenging, was more interesting. And so I think the feedback from them was really positive.
A memory came to my mind with the learning, with a great feedback I gathered from my friend when you told this story. So it's about those science sessions, because I was kind of questioning these science sessions as well. I questioned everything at first, by the way. This is my character. I don't accept anything like when
we felt that.
Yeah, you realize that. So we had started an orphan project, like maybe Paolo is familiar. When they came, the project was very active. So the project started from a city called Malatya. It's an eastern province in Turkey. There was this orphanage house in Malatya, and I was the leader at that time, the project. So we were going to Malatya to make science sessions every week with those children. So at first, I went almost every week. I was flying to Malatya from Istanbul, made those science sessions, and then turn back to the Istanbul. But sometimes, especially when I was alone, because sometimes we couldn't find any volunteers to come with me to Malatya, I was questioning, I couldn't, handle the children. They were doing some noises, etc. And I was sometimes doing some mistakes. I couldn't, teach properly, and I was angry with myself. And then one of these weekends, I was feeling really sad because I did a couple of mistakes in the session, and I was alone. I had a real struggle. And I called Sadık, which he was a great moderator. I learned how to moderate children from Sadık the years I have entered YGA. It was a birth gift, like a God-given gift to him. So in his first session, he was like a great moderator. So I told him, so Sadık, I feel very bad because I am telling those children and they don't listen at all sometimes. So why did I come here and to teach children? And he said, Omer, are you crazy? So you are only seeing those children once a week and sometimes not. You can't teach them all the scientific topics, all the things that you want to teach them in just a couple of sessions. But what they will remind and they will, remember in the future, or maybe they are feeling this, I believe that they are feeling this feeling inside their hearts right now. There is Omer, a big brother Omer, coming every week from Istanbul and trying to give us something. And with sincerity, he or the other moderators, they are actually, taking care of us, trying to do some good activities with us. And maybe it will spark something inside themselves, and then they can learn whatever they wish from internet. They can dig deeper, or they can discover themselves. Then it was a mind shift for me, a complete mind shift, because I was too much focused on teaching them something, but it is not real. I remember my own childhood. So you don't remember the words of your most favorite teacher, but rather their behaviors. And then while they're in a good behavior, maybe they are telling you a sentence, a good word that you don't remember for like 20 years, 30 years. I remember such a words, not because of that words, but because of that sincere behaviors. That was a very great lesson for me from my friend. And after that, I looked to those science sessions in a very different way. So that reminds me.
Fantastic.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for opening the topic and for that test as well.
Would be very useful also for us for each session. So we should be more relaxed. We will be more relaxed. Livia. You are muted.
And I think there's a problem maybe with the connection or not.
Going and coming. Here you are. Hi, Livia. You are muted still. Now it's
okay. I have a bad connection. Okay. I have some questions about the twin test, but you answered with the other question. I have a question about the if you think to sell these kits in some toy stores, for example.
To sell them in toy stores?
Toy stores.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, we are selling them in toy stores in Turkey, but the stores now they're opening again. We are mostly shifted to the e-commerce because after COVID, our e-commerce sales grew 5 times when we compared the last quarter of 2019 and the last quarter of 2020. The last quarter is the quarter that we are making most of our revenue because of Christmas, Black Friday, back to school terms. So we see 5-time growth in terms of dollars. And yes, we are selling in toy stores in Turkey, not yet in United Kingdom and Italy. For example, Arda is part-time working for Twing, and he is looking for shop toys, e-commerce channels, retail channels in Italy to actually sell the Twin Science in Italy, and hopefully contributing YGA Italy as a funding, because in Turkey, when we sell some kit, we are contributing to the Turkish NGO YGA, and I'm going to. No, I like spontaneous ideas, but I have to discuss with it first. But what we were planning to do is, when we sell a kit in Italy, we want to contribute some portion of that revenue to YGA Italy to sustain its operations in Italy. But now I am thinking maybe we should move that to international levels. So that's the idea that came to me. But yes, and in terms of numbers, like 25% of our revenue comes from retail, from toys shops or electronic stores that are also selling electronic toys like us. And 25% of Twin's revenue comes from retail and e-commerce sales, from store sales. The other 75% comes from schools or corporations like Rolls-Royce, Ford, Boeing companies. And this year it will shift a bit. I think we will increase our e-commerce revenue and retail revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Faisal? Do you have any questions? And Gigi, I don't know if you arrived home and you are going back from office to home at this time. So Faisal is ready. Any
Yes,
curiosity?
I think Omer has explained each and everything, whatever I have the questions, and and nice to meet you as well. And I have a question
Nice to meet you as well, also, Faisal.
What was the question? I just forgot. No, I just forgot. My
No
question was
worries.
as you said, we will go in AI and artificial kids as well in future. So we have any plan, or we will get any training from, I mean, to get used to it?
The new product, you mean?
AI, artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence.
Yes. Actually, the curriculum is almost ready. Actually, it's ready and it has been tested, but the product is not ready. So we have got product shortage. What we really want to do is to create a little bit more, during May or June, I think we will have more this introduction to artificial intelligence product in our hands. And then in the second half of this year, we may send some samples to YGA Italy as well, with the curriculum, with the contents. And so you can also contribute to the curriculum and content, because now we are testing with the children, but through Rolls-Royce volunteers. So we only delivering to Rolls-Royce employees their kits, and they are testing it in the field. But in the June, we will have more artificial intelligence kits, at least the basic one, the introduction version. So we can send a sample to you as well in the second half of this year.
Okay, and I also think, like, in future, after 2 or 3 years, artificial intelligence will be the core of any you can say technology. For example, you must know a little bit programming. You must have a knowledge of programming, Python, machine language, all the things. If you also teach students a little bit, 1 or 2 or 3 lines of code of programming, so they will get to used to it.
Yeah, exactly, Faisal. And maybe you have also examined and looked into Twing application. So what we are trying to do with Twing application is exactly what you said, because with hardware, it is still too hard, too difficult to cover every technological topic that we want to teach children. But in the Twing application, there are actually 6 different characteristics, like artist, scientist, explorer, earth ranger, computer whiz, and inventor. Under the computer whiz, I think your idea is brilliant. We should try to teach children different languages of coding from scratch, in a very basic way, as we are teaching them AI, machine learning, Python, Java, for example. But we probably are going to do that under our digital application, because at the end, the mission and the aim of that Twing application is to discover children's unique interest area, what they are interested in the very early ages, and develop some know-how, some skills in that specific area, actually, a customized learning path for every child. That's the value proposition of the application.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gigi? Görkem? We call him Gigi in Italy. So.
I just arrived actually, and she follows me.
Welcome home.
Yeah, it makes me a bit scary because Birnur knows what I'm doing. Okay, well.
Görkem, sorry, by the way, Görkem is working in a startup in Turin. It's the startup where I am the business angel. So I am the one of the investors also. So.
Nice to meet you, Görkem.
Thank you, Omer. Well, actually, for you, answered all of the questions actually, and I just write the question, but I just want to change my mind, and actually, I want to ask you some support, or I can give some support for the your AI journey for the Twing, and also I can be like a transfer guy for the take to everything to there, because I'm 5-year experienced data scientist and also AI enthusiastic, and I just give this to you, because rather than asking question about what's your syllabus and etc., maybe we can handle this in the private sessions. But I just want to give this proposal to you, and maybe I can be the key guy for the if the YG Italy thinks they can adopt this in Italy, I can be the key person for because actually I know not only business side, because I came from the consulting company, also the technical part, and I can help. That's it.
Well, that's a very generous offer. Thank you very much, Görkem. And maybe what I can do after this meeting to introduce you to Mustafa and Cihan, our CTO and our Chief Content Officer. One of them is running the product side. The other guy, Cihan, is running the curriculum side, how we should teach them. And maybe we can find a common ground, because that would be very beneficial to use all of our power to accelerate, because now it's the time for EdTech actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's it actually.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
So now I present you Arda.
Hello. Hello, Omer abi.
Hi, Arda. Hi.
Hearing your story from you in this very compact format is actually very fascinating to me. It also happened last week with Duygu as well. These long-time YG volunteers coming in and sharing their experiences is always good to benefit from. You always catch some really good points. And when I look back to my journey in YGA, the first time I met you, it was in 2014.
Which period was it?
The first impression.
First impression or second impression?
I love you.
Second World War.
You're fantastic.
Exactly.
And he was very different. He was physically very different, and he was much more rigid. And in I think 17 or 18, when I joined YGA after a little break, I saw a different Omer, and I did not believe it was the same person.
I don't believe sometimes either.
Because I remember Cihan is the same person. Okay, also they grew up. Okay, also is good. Esat is the same person, but Omer, no way. Omer was someone completely different. You became like a fluid person who's much more adaptable.
Just a small correction, maybe, Arda. Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, they are also a different person. But from my perspective, I guess I speak out a little bit loud these changes, and yeah, share. Not everybody feels too much comfortable to share with, which I really understand. It's about characteristics. Some of are more introverts. Some of us are more extrovert, etc. But yeah, everybody has its own journey from very different aspects, very different points. You heard mine and last week Duygu's, but I'm a bit more expressive, I guess, it just from that aspect.
Yeah, and it's really beautiful to see from your eyes your journey. And when I think of myself, like my own questions about YGA, because I had many, it's becoming like a depression school of YGA, but no, it's not like that. Since you are here, you really want to, put your 100% of, effort into it, and you really want YGA to succeed, or a Twing to succeed and grow out of YGA or other companies. You really want them to, go out and be successful and share this joy to everyone. And there are some times you see, like just like Omer did, there are some problems or small mismatches, and it really bugs your mind, and you either grow it in your mind and burst it out, or you share with people and try to resolve it. And Omer's speech was really good for me, remembering these things, because I had many as well when I was working with Hassan, the content director. I think his role. We had this split because of the volunteer tasks of YGA. So I had to leave content for sales, and there was like a mismatch at first, and it was like a hard period for me. I think for Hassan as well. But in the end, everything settled. Like we had to talk openly and discuss everything. It turned out good, I think. And also on the YGA side, I was not really happy with the leadership program of YGA Turkey. After that, I decided to take a break from Twin and do a small internship in YGA Turkey, where I challenged the leadership program. And it's really good to see, like, the things you do in YGA, you can really affect the next week or the next month. It's really instant, and it makes you feel like you are achieving things that you are not capable of doing anywhere. I could go and be like a CEO of Apple, and it would take me 2 years to design a product and get it to the market and get my ideas out. But in YG, it's not like that. It's like we have a meeting next month. We are telling this story to other people. So it's really good, and I think the agility in YG is something really different. It's what keeps us alive. It's also really good that it's not really overprotective. So you can get quarantined. The founder can get quarantined. The companies can spin off. Twin became a startup while it was just like a code name under YGA. So it's really agile, and it's really the motion that keeps us alive and going. And I really want to thank Omer for reminding us that tonight.
Thank you very much for reminding me too. Thank you, Arda.
Whoa, fantastic. Did we forget somebody? If somebody wants to add something, somebody wants to ask anything else. So we are just, it's 1 hour and 20. So, okay, it's a little longer than what we expected. Georgia?
Yes, okay. Omer, I want to thank you to share with us your experience, your live experience, your experience in YGA. But I want to ask you as mom, because I have a daughter of 9 years old with a twin. I could transfer to Victoria, my daughter, love for science. And this is very important. I transfer to Vittoria that the science is can be a play, a toy, and this is very difficult in Italy. And so I'm very happy. I wanted to thank you with YGA. I can, as ma'am, I can transfer my daughter and also other children's the science, the love for science, and I think that also that the world can change.
Yes.
Can change thanks to the science, and with another different approach. Also for the girls and not only for the guys.
No,
It's very
never.
important.
Yes.
So when Birnur called me during the lockdown to speak about me, YGA, she told me when we was a child for Christmas, we received Barbie and dolls. I want my daughter receive a twin, and not only Barbie and dolls. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will share your comments with the team. I believe that they will be very happy. And all that we want to do is actually, I've shared the experience, my experience about YGA, knowing yourself and in you know, developing know-how. And that know-how can only be developed by science, either, you know, social science or physics, chemistry, but it really makes us understand how this world work, and then you can, when you understand how this ecosystem, this universe works, then you can actually contribute in it. And so with Twing, what we are trying to do is actually we are trying to do to the children what we are do in YGA. So thank you very much for your valuable comments. It's really nice to hear from a mother those comments, because you're doing it every day. This is your daily job, and these comments, you know, makes your energy boost. Thank you very much, Georgia.
I really thank to everybody, a particular thank to Omer, and we really say thank you.
Hope to see you in Italy when the lockdown goes.
We
will fly
wait.
to Torino. Yeah,
please,
yes,
as soon as you can.
It's really my agenda, as soon as I can. Yeah,
we will.
Thank you very much.
Wait for you.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.